Friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. I'm here with a video for Scrappy Tails Crafts, and I am using the Oopsy Daisy stamp set today. And basically, I'm going to make 5 cards using this particular stamp set. So I started out with using my original size Misty, and I decided that I would just stamp all the images and then pick the ones that I wanted to use, but I liked them so much I ended up using all of the images that I stamped. So I'm stamping all of the floral images, and there are 4 floral images, and all of the bee images, and I believe there are 5 bees in this stamp set. So I'm just spreading them out because I'm going to color them in, and then I'm going to cut them out with my Brother Scan and Cut. Now, there is a coordinating die set that goes along with this stamp set, so you can get the coordinating die set, which is really nice. Before I got my Brother Scan and Cut, I always purchased the coordinating die set. I don't love to fussy cut, so just to make it easier, I really like having that coordinating die set. So I'm using this new ink that I have from Maker Forte. This is their Color Hive ink, and this is their Eclipse black ink. And I am really loving this ink because as soon as I stamp this, I can color it in with my Copic markers or any alcohol markers, whatever alcohol markers you have that you love. Like, I use my Altenew alcohol markers, and I use my Copics, and they work beautifully with this ink. So there's no dry time, which is really nice because I have a couple other favorite inks, and if I start coloring too soon, I can't use them. So I went ahead and colored all of these in. And I will have the colors that I used on my blog at stampingimperfection.com. But basically I tried to make all of the flowers different colors, and the bees are all exactly the same, but I sort of just wanted to try a bunch of different combinations. So this means that since there are 4 florals and then the bees, I'm going to make 5 cards altogether. So I'm going to create, the next thing I'm really going to create is backgrounds. So I'm going to play with backgrounds. And I have a huge number of stencils in my stash. So I pulled out a whole bunch of stencils and some Distress Oxide inks. And of course I pulled out some texture paste, because at least one has to have texture paste, and I've got embossing powder sitting here as well. So as soon as I finish coloring these in, I cut them out and I start making card backgrounds. So that's what I'm going to do next. And I turned on the TV and had a show going while I was coloring this whole sheet in. I wasn't sure which ones I wanted to use. I just know that I love this stamp set. Like, those are pretty flowers, and the bees are super fun. You can put them together. So the first background is just one of my favorite new go-to backgrounds, and this is just a simple embossing, and you can see I used my embossing ink, and I just pushed it through my stencil with just covering a little bit of the background. I did not cover the entire background. That's also one of my new favorite things, and that's rose gold embossing powder. And I just poured that on and then heat set it, and I added "Have a Beautiful Day" because I thought it was perfect, because I'm going to put those little bees on here. And this is a Celtic knot stencil, it's called. And I'm popping the bees up on foam, and I'm just kind of meandering them around on that background. And at some point I will add a few sequins on there, and I don't think I show that in my video, but the final pictures will be on my blog at Stamping Imperfection if you want to see the final pictures. So that completed basically my first card. The second card, I pulled out this giant polka dot stencil, and decided that I would use 3 different colors of Distress Oxide and just sort of blend them down. And I picked some light, soft colors. This is dried marigold. And you can see I'm just using the wood handle foam blender pads. Like, this is just for me the simplest way to do it. Then I pulled out some scattered straw, which is a nice soft yellow, and the final color I picked was milled lavender. So I just did a few, and like the last row of each color I sort of did half circles so that I could blend the next color in. And I probably should have put some more tape down so this didn't move, but you know, it is what it is, and I'm not a perfectionist, but I really like the way that came out. I think the colors are super soft and pretty. So I was trying to decide what sentiment I would use for this one. And there are quite a few sentiments on this stamp set. And I decided to go with one that says, "Not a daisy goes by that I don't think of you." And I thought it was super cute. So I'm just going to stamp that in black. And I'm going to pop that floral, like the bees I popped up on foam dots, but I'm going to put some nice foam tape. And I have some thin foam strips that I use for the thinner parts, like the stems and some of the skinnier leaves. So I just popped that up on foam, and that completes that one. Super easy. That was just a simple stenciled background with 3 pretty colors that coordinate together. So I have this spotlight stencil that I just got, and you can see I haven't used it yet. So I was dying to use it. So I'm using a little bit of tape to put the paper on the back of that stencil. And then I pulled out some Tattered Rose Distressed Oxide, and I'm just going to ink blend that oval. So that will spotlight this area of the card. And one of the daisies that I colored in is pink, and I liked that. I decided I would pop it up on some foam and put that right in the middle of that spotlight and keep it super simple. Now, you could add splatters to your cards, lots of sequins, or whatever your favorite embellishments are. Definitely, add some stuff to it. I kept these very clean and simple. I just wanted to make clean and simple cards, and I wanted to show you that there's a bunch of ways you can use this stamp set just by making different backgrounds and coloring those. This might be called the Oopsy Daisy stamp set, but really you can color this in so many different colors and make it whatever you need it to be. Now this is a floral slimline stencil. I'm going to turn it sideways, and I'm sort of putting it toward the upper 2/3 of my card, and I'm just going to use those same 3 Distress Oxides I used before, the milled lavender, scattered straw, and the dried marigold. And I'm just going to kind of blend them sort of diagonally across, or just ink them on through that stencil, and then blend them where they meet, and have a nice floral background. I think this is kind of pretty. And I'll put the links to all the stencils and everything below. This one is called Night Garden, and it's a very subtle floral pattern, but isn't it pretty in those light floral colors? I'm going to use that same sentiment I used on the last card. Now, I should have cleaned that off because there was a little tiny bit of ink, so I'm trying to line it up with the ink, and it turns out okay, luckily, because I really did like the background. And again, I'll pop that floral up on foam. Now, all of these bases, or all of these card panels, will go on bases cut at 4 1/4 by 11, and I'll score them at 5 1/2. All of these are cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, with the exception of the last one. And this particular one, I cut it out of a piece of scrap paper, so I cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4 just because that's what fit. So I'm going to use this big dot stencil again, and I've got this little sample size of this transparent texture paste from Ranger. This is the transparent matte. I used this same technique using the transparent gloss for another video a few days ago. This is the matte one, and it does look very different. Like the gloss one is super shiny. This is not. It's a flatter color. And I mixed that with Evergreen Bough, and I really really liked this color. And I did give this time to dry. I immediately washed my stencil and my palette knife and my mat. I gave that time to dry, and I'm just stamping a hello, and that completes the card. And you can see all of these cards here, how quick and easy those were. I'll put the links to all the products below. Again, this is the Oopsy Daisy stamp set from Scrappy Tails Crafts. And what a lot of value I just got for my money. I have a whole card set here once I add them to my card bases. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. Oh, and please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you, friends.